Made a trip to come in here and talk with me. So first of all, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Great. Tell me, the reason people come on this show is because they've got a challenge going on in their life. So tell everybody here, what's the single biggest challenge you're currently facing in your life? What's that thing that you can't get through?
Okay, so I've been on this journey where I've been promoting and talking about and realizing the three essential elements which would bring a very good balance to your life, and them being your physical well-being, your mental well-being, and your spiritual well-being.
Okay, so you want to teach people this?
Well, I want to share it and learn and develop as we progress. Because I've seen a lot of people being kick-ass at finances. They're making millions, but they're still empty. They're missing the meaningness or the spiritual side of things.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people who go down the Zen mode and they end up being spiritual masters, but they're missing on the other responsibilities and miss out on that far.
Okay.
And then the physical side as well, like a lot of people who are totally committed to physical well-being and how their body looks, etc. And they're missing out the other parts. And so without these three essential elements, I mean, there's more to it, but if you narrow it down, these three are the pure essentials. If you have them all working towards you're working towards them rather, they give you fulfillment.
So this is interesting, but what's your personal challenge right now? What are you struggling with?
Okay, so I'm struggling with...
How old are you, by the way, and what do you do for a living?
I'm 40. I do a bit of things, property development, I do teaching.
Okay.
And that's really it from...
All right, and you're from the UK originally?
From Pakistan.
And when did you move here? How old were you?
I came 98, 99.
Okay.
So 20 odd years ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. So, all right, so you've got this IP that you think is really important for the world,
Yes.
and I totally respect that.
Okay.
But what's your personal challenge right now? Is
Okay.
it got to do with you getting this IP out there to other people, or is there something else going on with you?
Well,
The reason I ask what's the single biggest challenge to people is because it tells me something they want to do, but they can't do right now.
Yeah.
That's what a challenge is.
Yes.
It's something you want to do, but you're failing at.
Yeah.
And I love challenges. They're exciting, but they're also frustrating. So what's the thing you want to do, but you haven't been able to do?
Okay, so again, just to open this platform, because a lot of humanity, the population is missing out on these things.
Right.
And I'm doing it in a very close group of circle with my friends and their children, and just sharing with them on a platform,
Okay.
be it through football or exercise.
Okay.
But I want to go and like bring people, almost what you're doing, in a way where
Okay.
you bring in the experts.
You want to go on a bigger scale.
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been doing this or thinking about these ideas? Because it seems like a while you've been
yes,
doing this. Like
for six, 7 years.
7 years.
Yes, 6 years.
6 or 7 years you've been talking about this.
Yes.
So how come I haven't heard of you?
Well, because I've never been online. I've never
Why?
been social.
You've never been online?
Well,
Okay.
I have,
You have heard of this thing called Instagram and YouTube? I think it's going to be big.
Yeah.
Right?
I do follow it. I am on those platforms,
All
but
right.
I've never.
Do you understand my reaction? My
Yes.
reaction is like, what are you talking about? Because your IP sounds interesting. It seems like you give a shit, right?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
care?
100%.
It seems like you care.
Yeah.
But 6 or 7 years you've been talking about this.
Yeah.
You could have had 6 or 7 million subscribers, and you got 6 or 7 buddies doing this.
Yes.
How does that feel, knowing that I'm supposed to do this and I'm not doing this? How does that make you feel?
Well,
I don't know how it makes you.
Yeah.
It makes me feel frustrated.
I'm 100% with you, because you've done this. You've taken the jump, and
Yeah.
you know that it was easy. But
Well, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
Okay,
But
so-
I also know you could be helping so many people right
Yeah.
now, and you're not. And the thing that's stopping you is your own fear. So you're letting your own ego stop yourself from helping other people.
Possibly, yes.
Have you thought of it that way? What do you mean possibly?
Yes. It's got to be with ego, I suppose. And are you good enough? Am I ready to do? Or because it's on this curve, you're always learning. And so what I knew a year before, it's all like upgraded. And so you're thinking, okay, maybe I need to learn a bit more before I open the doors.
So you're asking yourself, am I good enough?
Or am I ready enough?
And
yes.
you keep thinking this, and you've been asking yourself this for 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, and there's been progression through this time.
Okay.
I mean, like, there's knowledge of all these things, and there's like never ending. So you keep learning, and you're thinking, but is this the right time to do it? And like I said, I've been experimenting or working with this close group of friends and the kids, and they've progressed. So I've seen them grow through the teenage years as well, and really help.
Yeah,
them
at this
through
rate, they're going to
path.
be senior citizens before you hear about it, right?
Before I go
Okay,
on.
but you understand, like, as you hear yourself explain it to me, I mean, you can see. I mean, if
Yeah.
you got to step out here and look at Hamad from a distance,
Yeah.
that's why I love practices like meditation, because you lose yourself.
Yeah.
What would you tell Hamad if you weren't you?
Yeah.
You could sit down like I am with
Yeah.
you right now. What would you tell you if you could? right
Just
now?
do it. Just go online and do it. Start a YouTube channel or something, even small with your one phone, etc. Just do it. Go for it. And again, you don't do it. You know what to do sometimes, but you just don't do it.
Because you're in fear. You think it's not good enough. You think someone's going to judge you. What is it? What's stopping you?
100% judgment is going to be there. 100%,
Okay.
and that's why I'm conscious on the content of what's and how to put it out there to avoid certain judgments, because your
Why are you
idea.
so sensitive to judgments? Why?
Because we've been judged all our lives,
Okay.
since childhood, coming up in a joint family system where you're judged amongst a number of kids. The education system, we are hardwired.
Okay.
I remember coming.
Yeah, but we're all hardwired, and yet some of us still do things.
Yes.
So you can't hide behind that excuse forever.
Not, yeah.
Now, you might even have some traumatic event or something happen with your parents, but you can't hide behind that forever as well, because
Yeah.
there's examples of those people still
Yes.
doing big things.
Yeah.
So some people have found a way
Yeah.
to get over these fears.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to ask you, how come you haven't? And who do you want to impress? Who's important in your life that you want that person to look up and say, wow, I'm so proud of my husband. I'm so proud of my father. Do you know what he does?
Yeah.
He's helped 1 million people online. Is there someone like that in your life?
Yeah,
who is it?
all the people close to me.
Who are the people that are
really.
close to you?
My
What are their names?
parents, my friends, my best friends, my mentors. So everybody and anybody, really. You don't want anybody to be let down.
Okay.
And again, impressing them is also not the major agenda here.
Okay.
Because they all love me, they all are impressed with me, whatever I've done till now. So I've won. So it's something extra I want to do now. But it's just that little fear factor where.
Okay. You've won. Are they really impressed with you?
Well, to a certain extent.
I wouldn't be impressed with you. But I wouldn't be. I'm
Yeah.
not impressed with you.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed with you at all, because you're talking about these things you want to do for people,
Yeah.
but you're not doing them.
Mm.
I see this all the time in my academy. And that's why I have this process I call resist and transform, because you're not resisting.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Most of us go through life and we don't resist all the things around us. Right? We don't resist the donut. We don't resist the Netflix movie.
Yeah.
We don't resist the time to take it easy on the weekend.
Yeah.
And we don't resist the feeling that we're not good enough.
Yeah.
We don't resist the feeling that maybe it's not ready yet. Perfection is actually a form of not resisting. Perfection is paralysis. Perfection and procrastination are the same thing. It's your ego getting involved.
Probably,
You're
yeah.
too worried about what people think of you as a person, which is weird, because you want to teach other people.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. Because if you really cared about these kids,
Yeah.
you would have done it already. But you just don't give a shit about these kids, do you?
Well,
You laugh, but
yeah.
if I look at your actions for the
Yeah.
last 6 years, you obviously don't care more about them. You care more about you. Is that not true?
Me is also important in certain aspects,
Do
because
you care more about you than these kids?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, because
Well, if you look at the behavior, what does that show?
well,
It shows that you care more about you, because you're worried about your ego getting involved. It's not right. It's not perfect.
yeah.
Well, what happens if it's not perfect and you put it out? What's going to happen?
Nothing, and I know it's a process, and like you
But
said,
what is the worst case? Someone says, this guy Hamad doesn't know what he's talking about. This is a joke.
It's
Like,
just
does that hurt when I say that stuff a little bit? Does it sting a little? I mean, I don't like putting out
Yeah.
garbage either.
yeah. That's it. To put something out which might not be as helpful or might harm in another way. So I whatever I
But
teach
not
or
doing something
share,
also harms. Can
yeah,
we
it
admit,
delays the delays,
which is
in other
harm.
ways.
I mean,
Yeah.
every day that goes by where someone's not. I mean,
Yeah.
so this is something I tell my students in my academy. So
Yeah.
because I deal with someone like you every day,
Right.
which is the reason that maybe I'm being a little harsh on you.
No,
right?
please go for
But
it.
The reason I'm being harsh is because I feel like we're put on this earth every day to
Yeah.
do something good,
Of
right?
course.
That's why we're here. And every day you're not doing that. Literally, there's people out there that are potentially dying
Yes.
or going on bad routes.
Yeah.
Maybe they're, maybe you, because you're into sports and things like that,
Yeah.
right? Using sports for kids. Maybe they're, using drugs as opposed to doing sports. And you're saying a delay,
Yeah.
but this kid doesn't have time to delay.
Right.
You've been thinking about this for 6 years. So that kid's gone from being 8 years old to 14.
Yeah.
You've missed your window. And so I see people all the time that want to help people, and yet they let their own ego stop them from doing it. And I'm like, look, this is what you need to do. You need to visualize those, 10, 14-year-olds out there right now, and you need to look at their life, whether they have your message or not.
Yeah.
And then you have to think about them. What if I could get that one kid who's in a dark room right now, who's looking at that piece of rope and is thinking about doing something bad to themselves? What if I could just give them one video that would make them feel better that day, that would make them, give them a little bit of hope? They would go outside, they would train, they would use some of your IP that you're talking about, and makes them feel spiritual.
Yeah.
Like that one video you make because of the internet
Yeah.
could literally change one person's life, 10
100%.
person's life, 100%. It could be some kid in Arkansas,
Yeah.
some kid in Indonesia. And yet, by you not doing it because you're worried about it being perfect, this kid's sitting there and you're not helping them. And they might go do something bad. Literally, it could be dead kids out there because of you. How does that feel?
Well, that sucks really. And
I mean, think about all those kids right now that you could be helping.
yeah, no,
How does that-
100%.
but
Yeah.
let's spend a minute with that, right? I mean, how does that make you feel? Because we got to connect with an emotion if we want to change our behavior. So, like, I need you to feel all of those kids you're doing a disservice to right now. And they don't care how you look. They don't care if you're perfect. They don't care if your IP is perfect. They don't care if you have the 3-pillar structure yet. They just want Hamad out there on video saying, guess what, guys? I'm here today. I got a smile. You got really good energy. I feel it in you. And look, I want to be there for you. I want you to try this one thing. You know, I used to play rugby as a kid? What did you play?
Football.
Football?
Yeah.
I used to play football, and this is what I would do when I would struggle with something, and I want you to go outside right now, and for 5 minutes, I want you to try this exercise. And guess what? Tomorrow, I'm going to have another video for you. You know?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Like, what if you could just do that, and you're not worried about how it's going to make you feel, how you're going to look. There's going to be critics. There always are.
Of course, yeah.
But just imagine that one kid, that 10 kid, that 100 kid that actually takes them to the next level. Can you feel that?
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Well, yeah, it does hurt, and that you have something and you were giving this opportunity, but you're not using it, and not coming out because of your own archetypes or whatever shadows you've been carrying around, and it's time, I think, to recognition is one which I have, and I go back deep, and look at all the traumas and all the events in life that have happened
To you?
with me, yes, personally, or people around me I've cared for.
Okay.
And how they...
What kind of traumas? As if they didn't have a mentor, the traumas they went through? Or what? What was it?
Well, all sorts. From growing up in Pakistan, there's some harsh realities of
That you
the
went
country.
through.
Well, I personally didn't went through, but people close to me went through.
Right.
And that obviously affects, and because you are in a position...
What if you could give a video to that kid? You know, you're a guy from Pakistan who's now in the UK. You made it.
Yeah.
And now you're giving a video to that kid, which we know he can pull out an Android and watch right now.
Yeah.
And you could inspire this kid and be like, man, I want to be like Hamad one day. Like, but you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Until the pain is big enough for you of not helping these kids, then the pain of you feeling subconscious that it's not going to be perfect, you're never going to change your behavior. So the reason I'm trying to get you to think about these kids right now is because that's the only way your behavior is going to change. I could sit here and tell you just do it,
Yeah.
and you walk out here and Brian said just do it.
Yeah.
But you're going to go back home and you're going to go back in your head and you're going to be back into perfection mode and you're not going to change anything. So I need you to dwell on these kids, man. Can you picture them in your head?
Yeah, for sure. Not just the kids. I mean, all everybody really.
Okay.
Because in some form, everyone is suffering, and there are ways to kind of go around it or to avoid it or how to manage it, and that's where these 3 pillars. And so it covers pretty much everything. And so
Yeah, but you have the IP. The IP is great.
Yeah.
The IP is not the problem.
yeah,
You're the problem.
yeah,
Because I can't get you to pull the trigger.
yeah,
And so I want to find a way to get you to pull the trigger here. And it has to come from some type of pain because you want to avoid this pain to pull the trigger. Right now you're focusing on your own fear of it not being perfect. And I get that fear. I don't like putting out garbage. I just put out a movie. Like we spent a long time on that movie.
Yeah, so
Every
it is.
single frame I looked at that movie because I didn't want it to be garbage, right? But then I had to release it because I know that perfection is paralysis.
Yeah.
And I thought about the people that are going to watch my movie and learn something about their childhood or how much they work or something
Yeah.
about plant medicine. So I focus on the end user and I don't focus on how Brian's going to be judged. And I think you are still focused on people judging you.
potentially yes.
What do you mean
there's
potentially?
there's a big
But,
part.
I mean, separate yourself from who you are and just look
Yeah.
at the behavior. Again, first part of my system, the resist and transform, is called acknowledge and resist. You have to acknowledge
Yeah.
that Hamad right now, you are stopping yourself from going forward. It's just you.
Yes.
And it's worried about the judgment of others. Is it or not?
It's pretty, yeah, a lot
That
a lot
has
of
to
it.
be
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
You have technology.
Yeah.
You have a phone. You could literally put it out right now. You could have a YouTube channel. You could be on Instagram. You're not on Instagram right now, right?
I am on Instagram.
Okay,
yeah.
but you don't put
I'm
this
not
stuff.
posting- no. I just put some
Isn't
photos
that
on.
crazy to
Yeah.
you? Tell me how ridiculous that is.
Yeah, it is.
So obviously you're worried about people judging you, and that pain is worse than the pain you feel for the kids. So 2 things are happening. You obviously don't give a shit about these kids. Well, you don't, because you care more about you than them. So the only way we're going to change that is first for you to acknowledge that. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. How does that make you feel? Like a jerk?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, it
doesn't.
should.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I understand all these things, and I pretty much get myself, and the reason, because all the time we've been pushed towards getting the perfect grades or the perfect results, and so
Yeah,
it's a hardwiring that. So I've pulled myself out of the rat race and all that
Okay.
on many occasions. It's just that how to make it best effective, because knowledge is out there, information out there, people, like, there are tons of videos and by specialist people. But how do you make it more effective, where it would work better, is probably
but
where
what-
I'm stuck at.
Okay, and I have this with a lot of my students as well inside my academy, is they say, Brian, I'll never be as good of a mover as Ido Portal. I'll never be as good of a motivational speaker as Dorian Yates. I'll never be as good of an athlete, motivational speaker as Dan Pena. I'll never be as good as a bodybuilder as Dorian Yates. And I always say this one thing. In the internet today, it's all about personal connections, period. You want to learn from someone who you identify with. They identify with your story, they identify with their energy, everything. You could be Tony Robbins, but if I don't understand you, I'm not going to get your message.
Yeah.
Some people don't like Dan Pena, even though they could really use his message,
Yeah.
but they don't like him. Some people would rather a different person. They want female energy, they want younger energy, they want older energy.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the internet. So you need to acknowledge that if you compare yourself to Alain de Botton and London Real and Dan Pena, then you can always say my IP is never going to be good enough. But you need to stop that mentality, because the mentality of today is there's a kid out there or an adult out there that wants to learn from Hamad, period. I have a concept called your 1,000 true fans. There's 1,000 people out there that would rather learn from you than anyone else.
100%, yeah.
Maybe because they're from Pakistan and they have a background like you, but maybe not. Maybe there's some housewife in LA right now that just likes your vibe, and she'll find you on the internet and say, have you seen this dude? I mean, there's crazy people I follow on the internet. I follow Korean breakdancers. I follow an ex-convict in San Diego. I mean, I got crazy-ass man in Scotland with his own castle, right? I mean, are these the best at what they do? No, but they resonate with me, and I follow them, and they changed my life, man. They literally changed my life, and I'm Brian Rose. So you need to understand that people want to relate to who you are. That means you got to be honest, vulnerable about your own self, and you got to put your content out there. If you don't put your content out there, it won't happen. And so until you visualize the people you need to help, because logically you know all this, but it's not getting you to do it. So this is what I need you to do. Okay, this is my assignment for you.
Okay.
First of all, you got to put your message out. Okay, and version 1 is better than version none. Okay, you've had 6 years of version none. That's just true. You have to put version 1 out there. Somebody is going to connect with your message, and they're going to connect with your personal story. So you have to do it. And anytime you're going to feel that hesitation, and it's going to come, maybe it's not going to come today, you're going to feel great today, I'm going, Brian, I'm going to do this, but it's going to come next week. You need to sit, and every time you're feeling self-conscious, I'm not good enough, and you can blame the system for that, and maybe that's true, but that doesn't prevent where we are now, because we can't be a victim our whole lives.